Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Maverick's Point of View. So, we are going to kind of look at gold today, before the next week starts and see what the heck happened because some things happened last week, all right? um, so last week went kind of crazy. We had a lot of seller movement. Basically, sellers took over last week. They definitely did. And they're starting to erase the uptrend, currently, right? Not over the grand scheme, but currently, they're starting to look like we're going into a downtrend. So, what I'm gonna do is kind of refresh this a little bit for y'all. We had obviously this move kind of happened. It did. We got some buyer momentum. Buyers tried to put it back up, but it didn't fully happen the way I liked it. So once again, I didn't take it. This move didn't happen. They just completely ignored it. They were more focused on the weekly levels this week. So that's why we ended up here, and we actually ended up past the previous weekly level. So we're gonna go to the weekly time frame first. I'm gonna delete these first, and then we're gonna go to the weekly time frame. Let me leave that last one. Let's just delete this one, and let's delete this one. Okay. Let's go to the weekly time frame, see what's popping. All right. So, big weekly zone here. Y'all remember this one that we did, or you may or may not remember, because I don't know if I did a video when we are going up. I know I did videos when we were here, but I don't remember. Anyway, either way, this was a weekly. Obviously, as you see, buyers came up. They passed this territory. They got here. Sellers tried to come back in, aka buyers took profit because they broke a new territory. They're like, we're going to take some profit. And then they kicked back in. So this was a little midpoint. This was the bigger point, but this was a midpoint right after it. And then after that, they took off and we went up almost 100,000 points. Basically, rounded up 100,000 points. So a lot of momentum for buyers for the past few weeks, months, etc. And so now sellers are kicking back in and trying to take position and not trying to have buyers go any higher. With the week like this, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, this was a decent week. If you just jumped in at the beginning of the week, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Let me be clear. I messed up a little bit last week, and not nothing major, but I just stuck to my bias, which is normally you don't want to stick to a bias on the chart. You want to be fluid, you want to be flexible, go with what the charts give you. Remember, I kept saying buys, but the market does what it wants. I'm looking for buys, but the market does what it wants. I've been saying those over the last few videos. So this is a prime example of the market does what it wants. I wanted it to go up. I've been seeing it go up. It's been an uptrend. But the market said it's not having that. The market said it's not having that. Sellers took over, and now we're here and we're getting back to this territory. Looks like because they blew right past this one. And we're gonna kind of redo things. We're gonna do things basically just for the weekly to kind of give us some good structure to start dialing in over the next few weeks because we're in pretty much new territory. So I'm gonna leave this top level. All right. I'm gonna take this one, delete it. Irrelevant. This was a previous weekly. As you see, the bottom of this, we already talked about that last video, so you guys already know about that. Let me make it a little bit bigger too, because I know I got some space. Okay, so I'll leave that. This was a daily, so we'll ignore that as you've seen, right? So at the bottom of this wick, we've got a little level, but you might as well just use this one here. We could do like that if we want, right? So now we got both, whatever. And then I'm going to draw a trend line so we can see where this current trend is. I define where I put it on the daily on my other computer. So as you guys know, I mark up multiple screens, multiple charts all the time. I'm always doing this. So I have several different charts and time frames and etc. to basically see all these things and give you guys the best information possible. So trend lines, remember, you're taking it from a significant low, in this case, right? Because we were in an uptrend, so a significant low to the next higher low, right? So I'm basically using this wick, which was the lowest, to the next higher low, which is here, right? Because that was an uptrend. So what you're going to see is this was going great. Sellers were not able to get past this at any point. Boom, we bounced off of it, got some motion, bounced off of it, got some motion, right? So this kept them in check. But now sellers have officially locked in for a week below this level, which has been holding up pretty strong. Also, to keep in mind, if you were going to take a sell last week, the main opportunity that I saw was the day that I got on here and told y'all that midweek day, which was Thursday, right? So right here would have been the only thing. Why? Because this was a weekly level and the daily did go below it. You'd have been risking it pretty big. As you see, it's only a 1.13, whatever the case may be. It's just a little bit over 1x. But hey, that's a lot to risk for a little to reward. But hey, it might keep going. It might give you the double, right? So get this 2 to 1. But I didn't take it, like I said, because I didn't feel that we were in sellers territory yet. However, now it seems like we're jumping into sellers territory, aka sellers are taking over. This level, this trend that is held up for a while is not being broken, right? So I want to keep that in mind. Draw another one here. So yeah, I want to keep that in mind. I want to just look and observe, right? I want to come from the market from a completely neutral standpoint and not project my thoughts onto it so I can have the most opportunity in the charts. If you get a good opportunity, seize it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, this is a risk game, right? You're risking an attempt to gain. Simple. Don't make it complicated. Also, don't limit yourself if you don't need to. You are risking to gain in this game. Don't be afraid to risk. So all in all, this seller's move looks like it might keep going. So those people who did sell at this opportunity probably going to get some good movement, probably going to get some good profits from this move. But we're going to look and we're going to see where we can get in and where we can dive in and where the opportunities might be going forward. So what I'm really seeing is here, 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 right? So I'm going to add our consolidation, the matrix. I'm going to leave these levels because I like for y'all to see what was there before, because the market might come back to it like it always does, right? Like I'm leaving this big one here, which was the weekly. Boom. As you guys saw, the market might come back and try to play some games there. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled for that scenario and that situation. All right. Now remember. These moves are the main things that could happen, but they might not always be perfect, right? Like, even like last week, we had the direction was good, right? We had the down move, we had the up move, we had consolidation. The down move happened, but it didn't happen perfectly how we wanted to, and we got to leave room for that, right? You got to have some margin for error. That's why you do a stop loss. That's why you set up a 1-to-1, right? Because you're risking that 1-to-1, betting that it's going to keep going in your direction, which in this case was a sell, but you're not being stuck on how exactly it looks, right? The point being, if sellers took over, which they did here, that makes it seller territory. That means we're pushing for sales as long as we're not in the uptrend, which, like I said, it seems like we're no longer in the uptrend. I'm going to keep my eyes open. I'm going to keep my bias open because basically until we get past this trend line, right? So we've got our downtrend line and our uptrend line. Until we get past this trend line, we're currently in a downtrend for all intents and purposes, right? Now the market might bounce and go back up and get us back into that uptrend, but that would look like this. Remember, not perfectly, but just something like that. That would look like, okay, we're getting back into our uptrend. But for right now, I'm looking at this as if we have to continue to take sales. So overall, for this next week, we should be looking for one of these three moves to happen. They might not happen perfectly. If I kind of see it being funky again, I'll jump in and make a midweek video. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys what I'm looking at with the markets moving the way that they're moving. I'm being open. I'm being fluid. I'm allowing myself to look at what's there, look at the data that's there, and make a decision off the data and not be stuck in my mind. Because I would have made like 50,000 or at least 20,000 points on that move if I had taken that move, right? So, matter of fact, what was it? Yes, that's 26,000 points. So, hey, remember, this game is about risk. So you have to be willing to take risk in order to win. That's what this whole game is. It's just as if you went to the casino and you bet on black until you win. But in this case, you got way better odds. This is 50-50. Every time you take a trade, you have a 50% chance to win. And that's some of the best odds you're going to have. Businesses don't even have that good of odds, honestly. Most businesses have like a 12% profit margin. So we're not going to get into that. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Maverick's Point of View. We're looking at gold again. We're pushing for sales, I guess, this week until we see differently. And yeah, we're keeping our mind open and our eyes on alert and a lookout for what's going to happen and then reacting off of that. Don't be stuck in your bias. The market does what it wants and we just react to it. Thanks again, y'all, for tuning in. Peace.